Welcome to the House Edition project, episode 17. Today we are installing the big beams. All the work that we've done up to this point has been to get to where all the walls are plumb and level, straight, and today we are going to put up the center beams, and that is going to tie everything together. Once the beams are up, then we can install the floor joists and the floor diaphragm, which is 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood. And that will be the subfloor to the upstairs. You can see Teddy, the little white Maltese dog, running around barking orders at us. Teddy's a good little helper. So you see us working the beams there. Mitch is preparing to cut the first beam. And these are 11 7/8 by 7 inches, and that particular one is, I think, 18 feet long. The next one is going to be 14 feet long, and the third one will be 19 feet long. So there is a lift out in Mitch's truck that we rented, and that's what we're going to use to lift the beams up onto the post saddles and into the pockets in the walls above the posts there. So you can see the beam there. We center the beam between the forks on the lift, and then we carefully move it into position. We have to make sure that we can roll it in without any obstructions. So Mitch is cranking up the beam right now, and then I am going to position it into the saddle, and then we'll check the plumbing of the posts and make any straightening adjustments to that. And then you see that we've grabbed a 12-foot 2x6, and we're going to nail that to the sidewall and then to the beam, and that's going to hold the beam plumb straight up and down. And Mitch is just going to finish up. He had to do a little extra chiseling in the pocket for the beam over on that end. So once we get that cleaned out, then we will lower it down and get to work on the next beam. There, we're measuring out for the next beam now. And Mitch is going to cut the ends. You see he's going blindingly fast with the skill saw, and then he takes the sawzall and finishes the cuts. And then we position the lift in the center of the beam again, and we will lift the beam up into position on this end of the garage. This is the center beam. So this one's a little bit trickier. We have a lot of cutoffs in the way, and so we're just going to use those as a makeshift ladder since they're already in position. So that went nice and smoothly. Now we're going to get that beam out of there. You see, this is the biggest beam over here, and unfortunately, to get it into position, we have to move this stack of wood. So this works out pretty good. We just do a little teamwork, and we're moving 3, 4, 5 boards at a time. And so you recall my Harbor Freight visit video the other day. Those are the 2 dollies I bought that the beam's on. Now Mitch has just run off with the window lady. I hope that sounded okay. And Teddy is here helping again. But yeah, Mitch and the window lady are running upstairs to take measurements for the rest of the house, where we're going to be replacing some of the existing windows with leaded glass windows. So I'm going to measure and cut this beam, and then I'll end up lifting it on my own. So I had to make some adjustments, moving the dollies a little bit. I set up a quick fulcrum and moved the dollies where I could get the saw to cut. And being that it's just me, I can't roll or rotate the beam around, so I just made 3 cuts and then finished the cuts with the sawzall. So now I'm going to put the beam in place. I'm going to measure, center it, and lift the beam up. See how much easier that dolly makes doing the job. Two of us couldn't lift that, and the dolly, with the dolly, just one of us can be doing this. And so I've got the beams lowered down into the pocket over on the right side there where the stairway post is, making sure that it's all set in there nicely. It's in the steel post cap on the left side there where I'm working right now, and we're doing the same thing there, plumbing up the post and then nailing a board from the side wall to the post to hold it plumb straight up and down. So quick camera reposition. Now we're going to set up to do these other beams, and these beams are going to be positioned where the second floor end walls are. And so these have to be placed pretty precisely because they hold up the whole end wall of the house above, which is not as far out as the end wall on the garage below. So we're just going over the plans and making sure that we've got all the measurements, placements correct. And after a little head scratching, we take some measurements and make sure that we have everything in the proper position. Measure twice, fix once, or something like that. So that is one of the smaller beams that will go on the right side, the other side, but we're not going to do that first. We're going to do the longer 15-foot beams that are straight ahead. So we have a nice 100-foot tape that we can use for situations like this. So Mitch is getting the hanger and putting it into position. And we're still thinking it through a little bit. Just going back and forth, making measurements, making sure that everything's right where it needs to be. Incidentally, that blank level in front there that Mitch just grabbed that was by the post, that was the one that came from Harbor Freight. And now we're having a quick discussion with the homeowner. He's got questions about the leaded glass windows. He's still meeting with the window lady in the upstairs of the house. It's a pretty big project and a lot of changes are going, and so everybody wants to get things just right. We're still making measurements, and I'm not sure how many cups of coffee Mitch had this morning. I think he put Teddy in the truck. That's Mitch's little white dog. Teddy's a good helper. Okay, and there we go. Mitch is putting one of the hangers up now. And then we will grab the first beam and put it in position, lift it up, and set her down. So that lift sure made things a lot easier. Probably would have taken at least 4 guys to be able to lift those big beams. or one guy with a lift. Work smart, save your back. Okay, and so the lift is coming down and it is in position. So we did that beam first, and then we will do the second beam, because you have to do the outer beam before the inner beam, because the inner beam would obstruct the outer beam. I don't know if I explained that right, but you have to do the one before the other, otherwise you can't get the lift up there to do it. So I'm putting in the second bracket, or the bracket for the second beam. So we're going to lift that up. Mitch has already cut it. So we've got that in position, and it's coming on down. Nice tight fit. Okay, and we are done with the lift. So I have to hand carry it back out. It's a little difficult to carry that out because of the placement of the lumber. Okay, Craig, you too. Take care. Okay, we have got our beams up in place for the most part. So that was fun, lifting them heavy buggers up. But we had the mechanical lift, which made things quite a bit easier. Mitch has been having trouble with his truck. He has been having starting issues, and it wouldn't start on him when he went down to the box store to get materials. So he put in a new what the heck was it? Cam position sensor, but apparently that did not solve the problem. He ran it, it got warm, and then it wouldn't start again, and so the problem remains even though we put in a new sensor. So anyway, okay, it's Friday and we are done. And let's head on over to the truck camper chuck wagon. Makes a great thing to have on the job site. Place to make lunches and hang out if we need to.